The popular luxury brand Balenciaga is under fire for its recent ad campaign with
critics are accusing the brand now of crossing the line in this latest campaign.
Fashion house Balenciaga in a controversial new ad campaign, and these uncovered documents on the desk.
Protest at the Balenciaga store.
Balenciaga's got to go.
Christine Marla, we're on Rodeo Drive.
I thought it was absolutely disgusting.
Any last words?
Only one.
Today I want to talk about the whole Balenciaga situation, scandal, controversy, whatever you want to call it. I have been following this since it first started, and there were a lot of developments, and then all the conspiracy theories came out, and I was like, oh my God, I have to make a video about this. I want to make a video about this. And then there was like people saying this is horrible, awful. Other people are like, this is art, like calm down, get over it. So when I saw that and what was going on, I was like, okay, I want to do what I usually do on my channel, which is I want to give you guys the facts, then we'll discuss the theories, and then you can decide for yourself. As always, but I do want to mention it specifically in this video, but this is always the case, like all my sources, always linked down below. And also want to thank the sponsor for allowing me to make videos like this. This video is sponsored by Scentbird. You guys know Scentbird. They sponsor so many of my videos. They really support my channel. They allow me to make whatever videos I want to make. And so I really want to thank them for sponsoring this video. Scentbird is basically a fragrance subscription service. They have this amazing new packaging locking feature for the spray. It just opens really easily like that. You get basically enough to test out the fragrance for a month. And they have the designers, but more and more they're getting the niche. They're so expensive. They're like in hundreds of dollars. So let me tell you what I got. Maison 21G, and it's called Mimosa Mantra. Marine notes, powdery notes, fresh notes, and musky notes. Not my typical thing, but I want to give it a try. Ooh, oh my God, very fresh. Salt, like salt water. Does that make sense? You know, this is very much unisex. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I wouldn't go for this. It's not bad. Not bad at all. Not my style. This, which is English Laundry Oxford Bleu Femme. Ooh, look, citrus, vanilla, caramelized sugar, oh my God, I can't talk. Sugar, pineapple, and amber. Okay, now these are my notes. Yeah, these are my notes. But it's refined. The citrus cuts it and the amber weighs it down. Okay, leave me alone. I love this shit. So if you guys are interested in Scentbird, remember it's available in the US and Canada. So it's $17 a month. But if you use my code, you get 55% off your first month, which is just a little bit over $8, and my code is NJ55. Again, thank you so much to Scentbird for supporting my channel and sponsoring the video, and back to the video. Thank you guys for watching. Okay, so the whole thing started on November 16th when Balenciaga released their ad campaign, the one with the bears, the bondage bears or the BDSM bears, just the bears, because they're not like regular teddy bears. They have like fishnet tops and leather harnesses, and then also the items that were around. People were saying like they're wine glasses. Some people are saying they're like phallic objects, and the kids are in weird positions. And so when this ad campaign came out, really it was like on TikTok and Twitter that certain people were talking about it as being like, this is weird, this feels wrong, like what's going on? And then those posts went viral, and that's when it became a whole thing. I mean, my mom was talking to me about it. My friends were calling me up, talking to me about it, because I am what you would call an uppity bitch, okay? I have several items from Balenciaga. I have like bags from when I was younger. Like I said, I'm an uppity bitch. And then I have this, one second. I was gonna wear this, you know, I was gonna wear this, but I thought, better not, because when I wore the Nickelodeon shirt on the Nickelodeon video, it's supposed to be ironic and people got pissed. So I was like, they're very trendy. There's a lot of celebrities talking about them.
I like those Balenciagas, feeling fussy, walking in my Balenciagas.
So when I heard that there was like a controversial thing with Balenciaga, I was like, okay, whatever. They did the trash bag bags and all that stuff. But this was different. people were not just saying it's absurd, they were saying it's upsetting. So all of a sudden they were like, cancel, hashtag cancel Balenciaga. Now, 5 days after they released this gift toy bear campaign, they released another campaign. Okay, this was the 2023 garde-robe or garde-robe campaign, if you want to say it like that. And there was already drama, right, because of their earlier campaign. So people really scrutinized this new campaign. And then they found something weird in this campaign too. Actually, two things. The first were some court documents that were used as props behind a photo of a bag, a Balenciaga bag. And this prop is from a page from the Supreme Court ruling of United States versus Williams. United States versus Williams is a case where the guy, his name is Michael Williams, he was actually on the internet chatting with an undercover Secret Service agent, and he told the agent that he had explicit photos of his minor daughter. He didn't actually send them, but when they went in and they investigated him, they found that he actually had, we're going to call it corn. Remember before, children of the corn, okay? And so they arrested him, of course, as they should. What ended up happening was he pleaded guilty to having the stuff on his computer, but he challenged the part where they tried to get him for pandering under the Protect Act. He was like, no, I said that I had those photos, but like this is protected under the First Amendment, free speech. I didn't actually have that, I just said it. And that was what this ruling is about and what these court documents that are in the Balenciaga ad are about. Now, the part that's actually visible is a very specific part of the Supreme Court ruling. So Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia, in his opinion, this is what they've taken out. Basically, he wrote, sexually explicit conduct connotes actual depiction of the SEX Act rather than merely the suggestion that it is occurring. Okay, the portrayal must cause a reasonable viewer to believe that the actor is actually engaged in that conduct on camera. They're basically saying like the connotation of it isn't it, right? And people are upset about this ad because, well, the previous one, the teddy bear ad, because of the connotation of it. So this is the connection that people are making, and they're like, what is going on? Like, did they intentionally pick this? Is this a mistake? Like, how do these things happen? This is really the crux of the whole thing. It's like, how did it happen? Interestingly enough, I found this article in the Washington Post, and it talks about like the snippets, like there's just little things because the paper is kind of like, it's not the whole document. So if you just read the parts that are visible, it says a reasonable viewer, visual depiction, although the sexual must involve actual pornography or sex between might be covered by the term. That court document in itself was causing an uproar. But then, right, at this point, people are looking at this with a microscope and they notice something else that they bring up, which is a book in the background of that same photo shoot. And it's a book by an artist. This artist, that's the author of this book, has some paintings that people find weird, okay? I will link everything below if you want to look at it, but essentially it's like castrated toddlers, and there's an art gallery that he was shown in, and it says that the description of one of his paintings says toddlers engaged in playful but mysterious acts with sinister overtones and insinuations of violence. So people are like, okay, what's going on? First, you got the kids with the bondage bears and shit looks weird. Then you have like the court documents and it's like, what are you insinuating? Like the connotations are not as bad as the actual thing. Like, and then now they're like the book with the toddlers. And then, so people were like, this is intentional. This doesn't just happen. There's so many people, there's so many eyes, so many checks that happened before. Everything is very intentionally placed. It's a curated scene. It's not just like things fall there. Every single thing is intentionally placed. Why are they doing this, right? And then this is obviously when the conspiracy theories come as to why this happened. Was this just oversight, a mistake, one bad apple, a whole sinister plot, which we'll get into the theories in the end. But basically, I do want to mention one thing, because people were saying that it's just a random book in the background, like there are other books of other artists, but this is the book people were harping on. So when I was looking for the artwork of this artist, and I noticed something, I was like, oh, that's really interesting, because you know, the Balenciaga fashion shows, they've been going viral, like whether you're into fashion or not, the way they have those masks, and like when Kim Kardashian wore that full-on mask, and that's kind of like become their thing recently for the past couple of years. And this artist has those same things. Like there's a few pieces where the art, which was done before these fashion shows, has that same mask. So I couldn't help but wonder, are those masks that Balenciaga is doing inspired by this artist? If they are inspired by the artist, then that book was put there intentionally. If the book was put there intentionally, what else was put there intentionally? And then you just kind of go down the rabbit hole. A lot of people, I would say most people, are like, what the hell, this is messed up. There are a decent amount of other people that think this is completely blown out of proportion and it's just art and we're reading too much into it. But I want to give you the facts of like how it went down, and then we'll discuss that. According to the photographer, he said that the kids were children of Balenciaga employees. That's what the photographer said. And one of those parents spoke to a media outlet and said, quote, "This whole thing is blown out of proportion." So maybe in the moment when they were doing it, it didn't feel gross and weird. And maybe us looking at it after already being told this is weird, and now we're looking at it with that bias, maybe that's what it is. You know, it's like one of those things where like a kid is doing something and it's like innocent, but then you're projecting your stuff onto them. Or is it inherently weird and we can't help but notice it? Debatable. So speaking of this photographer, right? Everyone in the beginning focused on him. And this guy has been getting harassed, death threats, all kind of things. His name is Gabriele Galimberti, or Gabriele Galimberti. We'll call him Gabriele. So he released a statement on November 23rd, and he says, "Following the hundreds of hate mails and messages I received as a result of the photos I took for the Balenciaga campaign, I feel compelled to make this statement. I am not in a position to comment Balenciaga's choices, but I must stress that I was not entitled in whatsoever manner to neither choose the products, nor the models, nor the combination of the same. As a photographer, I was only and solely requested to lit the given scene, take the shots according to my signature style. As usual for a commercial shooting, the direction of the campaign and the choice of the objects displayed are not in the hands of the photographer. I suspect that any person prone to pedophilia searches on the web and has unfortunately a too easy access to images completely different than mine, absolutely explicit in their awful content. Accusations like these are addressed against wrong targets and distract from the real problem and criminals. Also, I have no connection with the photo where a Supreme Court document appears. That one was taken in another set by other people and was falsely associated with my photos. Gabriele Galimberti." He's never done a fashion ad campaign before. He worked for National Geographic. He does his own books and stuff. And actually, he has a book called Toy Stories. I'll show you here. Basically, these are, to me, they seem like the inspiration behind the ad campaign. Like someone at Balenciaga saw this and wanted to do their take on it, because the kids are literally standing very similarly to how the kids are standing in the Balenciaga ad campaign, and they have all their toys in front of them. And there's like so many different kids, so many different places. A lot of them are in that same position. And clearly this is the inspiration for the Balenciaga ad campaign, but instead of regular kids' toys, it was like their teddy bears that were wearing leather harnesses and like mesh, you know, tops and shit. I want to read you some quotes from an article that Gabriele did where he discusses like what happened that day. He said, "Before children were brought on the set, he claimed that mannequins had been used in their place to get approval from the higher ups from the label. We took some photos, and then the photos were going from my camera to someone's computer, and then they were sending these photos to someone at the headquarters of Balenciaga. When they say okay, we simply replace the mannequin with a real kid." He said he was oblivious to any wrongdoing at the time. Quote, "When they saw those bags, everybody was telling them they were punk. Nobody ever mentioned BDSM. I can recognize if we're going too far or not, but in that occasion, I trust them and I didn't see anything so wrong. And then also this guy, he's been getting death threats, and he was also upset at the Balenciaga team because he said he was asking them to make statements and do things, but they took so long. And he's just like, my career is destroyed off of this one campaign. I had nothing to do with this. Like, I literally just went in there, took the pictures, did the technical photography stuff, and now it's like my life is ruined and they're accusing me of being this horrible person. So that's his take on it. But the day after the photographer made that statement, there was a bunch of other statements that came from Balenciaga. They would make several. The first one, they said, "We sincerely apologize for any offense our holiday campaign may have caused. Our plush bear bags should not have been featured with children in this campaign. We have immediately removed the campaign from all platforms." And then hours later, because everyone was like, okay, yeah, but what about those court documents? They go again and they say, "We apologize for displaying unsettling documents in our campaign. We take this matter very seriously and are taking legal action against the parties responsible for creating this set, including unapproved items for our Spring 23 campaign photo shoot. We strongly condemn abuse of children in any form, and we stand for children's safety and well-being." They end up taking both of the ad campaigns down, and the next day they file a lawsuit, a $25 million lawsuit against North Six and Nicolas Desjardins. North Six is the campaign production company. Nicolas Desjardins was the set designer on the photo shoot with the court documents and that book. And so the lawsuit is claiming that that production company and that set designer engaged in, quote, "inexplicable acts and omissions that were malevolent or at the very least extraordinarily reckless, resulting in a false association between Balenciaga and the repulsive and deeply disturbing subject of the court decision." When that lawsuit was filed, they got some backlash. Not only did they get it from the set designer, who explained through his agent and lawyer how those documents came to be. According to the set designer's lawyer, he said that the documents that they got from the prop house were supposed to be fake office documents, but they turned out to be real documents. So did they just randomly pick a paper and it happened to be a weird paper and it was placed over there and they looked at it a million times and didn't notice that it was weird? Or did they pick this paper and want to be edgy? Or was it something even more sinister? So while this lawsuit was going on and they're making these statements, everyone on social media is putting pressure on celebrities because, like Balenciaga, it's become such a part of pop culture and everyone's talking about it as a brand. So many celebrities promote Balenciaga, and so everyone's like, well, what are you going to say? Like, to speak out. What do you think? This is horrible. Everyone was focusing on Kim Kardashian. Well, on November 27th, she finally came out and she did like a Twitter statement, which I'll read you. And she says, "I have been quiet for the past few days, not because I haven't been disgusted and outraged by the recent Balenciaga campaigns, but because I wanted an opportunity to speak to their team to understand for myself how this could have happened. As a mother of 4, I have been shaken by the disturbing images. The safety of children must be held with the highest regard, and any attempts to normalize child abuse of any kind should have no place in our society, period. I appreciate Balenciaga's removal of the campaigns and apology. In speaking with them, I believe they understand the seriousness of the issue and will take the necessary measures for this to never happen again." And later on, she said she will be re-evaluating her relationship with the brand. Now, there's someone else that had something to say, and that's Kanye, or as he's known now as Ye. Balenciaga terminated their contract with him just a days after shooting the campaign with the teddy bears. But then on December 1st, he tweeted, "God loves Balenciaga." He said, "I stand by Balenciaga and denounce all witch hunts, and I cancel culture." He said, "Ending trafficking doesn't start or end with a fashion campaign." Then there was this award. It's the business of fashion. They were going to give an award to that creative director, Demna, and they revoked it. Now that the photographer spoke out, and the higher up spoke out, what about the creative director? Because really, that is the person who comes up with the concepts and is the final say. That's Demna. The thing about Demna, though, is that he is known for pushing the envelope. He said he wants to push the envelope. He is trying to, like, it's like no publicity is bad publicity kind of thing. So they're like, what was your thought process behind this? Did you do this on purpose to get people talking? Like, is that what this is? So he ends up making like an Instagram statement. He says, "Personal message. I want to personally apologize for the wrong artistic choice of concept for the gifting campaign with the kids. And I take my responsibility. It was inappropriate to have kids promote objects that had nothing to do with them. As much as I would sometimes like to provoke a thought through my work, I would never, all caps never, have an intention to do that with such an awful subject as child abuse that I condemn, period. He said, I need to learn from this, listen and engage with child protection organizations to know how I can contribute and help on this terrible subject. I apologize to anyone offended by the visuals, and Balenciaga has guaranteed that adequate measures will be taken not only to avoid similar mistakes in the future, but also to take accountability in protecting child welfare in every way we can. Sincerely, Demna. That same day as that statement, Balenciaga posts another statement where they say they're dropping the lawsuit, that $25 million lawsuit now. According to Vogue magazine, they say that the reason why they dropped it is within the fashion circles. Apparently, everyone was like, why the hell are they suing them? It's not their fault. Like, you guys are the final say. They're not going to win this lawsuit. And it was kind of backfiring on them. They were like, you're trying to scapegoat them and it's only making you look worse. So they're like, you know what? The creative director takes full accountability. We're going to deal with the organizations and charities and we're dropping the lawsuit. Like, please make this go away. The latest on this, as of me filming this, is that like when you search it up, people are still mad. People are graffitiing the store. People in Australia like went into the store, were like harassing the workers. I heard something about someone being seen in public with Balenciaga clothes getting like harassed by people. So it's still very much fresh in people's minds and they're mad about it. And so that brings me to the conspiracy theories, right? So the one that most people are talking about and also most people are dismissing, if that makes sense, like it's very polarizing, is the conspiracy about this being like the elites and this is just part of their plan to like normalize this stuff because they're disgusting and they have this like, you know, they're bringing up Epstein and they're bringing up like the QAnon thing, and here you have a luxury brand that's catered to wealthy people who, you know, they're selling $1,000 trash bags, literally made out of leather, but still it's kind of like this is an FU. They're just seeing how far they can get away with this, and they're mentioning specific things, which is one is the spelling of Balenciaga in the caution tape. So it's like B-A-A Balenciaga, which that's not how it's usually spelled. It's just with one. Well, the thing people are saying is that B-A-L, Baal is a demon king or a king demon, and that like Balenciaga, when you split it up, spells like this demon is the king. And then people came out to debunk it, like this Latin linguist was like, the Sia and the Siaga, like those two things are not derivative of Latin, and when you put it in Google Translate, it's giving a South African definition, and that they're just reaching. Yes, it is in the photo shoot on the caution tape. You can see they spell it with 2 A's. What's that about? Okay, for me, I really have no idea. I'm not familiar like with the whole demon thing, but at the same time, I'm like, why do they have a B-A-A? Why is it misspelled? Like, what is the point of that? Was that a mistake? Would have someone have caught it? Like, this is the recurring theme, right? How can this be a mistake? Wouldn't someone have caught it? Which brings me to the other theory, which is the people who dismiss these theories. They're like, dude, it's either two things. It's either they're doing it to get publicity and they push too far and they didn't expect this bad of reaction, or oversight, human error. It happens. The thing is devil's advocate, right? So I like to argue both sides and you decide. When you look at that full shot, you really can't see what the writing is in that document. Now, I don't know if they constantly zoom in on everything, but it's like, that's where the bag was. That's the main product. It's placed there. That's the main paper there. You would think that they would have seen it. Also, people were really looking for something because it's coming on the heels of the teddy bear campaign. So when the next campaign came out, you know, they're zooming in and they're looking and someone caught it. So there are many times that people online catch things that the people whose job it is to work on it don't. I mean, I do true crime videos and it happens all the time, right? These online sleuths, they catch stuff all the time, tiny little details that the investigators don't even notice, and it can break the case. So Can I believe that someone didn't see it? Yes. Can I believe that it was totally intentional and weird and provocative? Yes. So I don't know. The other thing too, I want to clear up some theories that like have been debunked, which there was one about the designer who was called Lata Volkova, and she had like this really creepy Instagram with like weird disturbing things of like kids and toys, and a lot of people were talking about her, but supposedly she has not worked for Balenciaga since 2017, and so she really had nothing to do with this current campaign. The thing that I found most commonly, what I would say is the most popular theory, the middle ground between the people who think this is like, you know, satanic and the people who say it's a complete accident. Most people are in the middle and they think this. They think that they might have seen it. They might have saw the overtones. They knew it was kind of weird with the kids with the bears. They may have seen that court document. They knew it was provocative. You look at the original art that they're inspired by and their regular toys. Then you see that they're creating edgy toys. They know that they're on that borderline. That's what they're doing. They're pushing the envelope. And he said in his statement he wanted to do something thought-provoking, but he didn't go all the way there. But still, he's provoking some kind of thought of like the juxtaposition of children and then that. So that to people is like, what the fuck, don't do that. That's really bad. Morality and ethics in art is a whole different thing. A lot of times the lines get blurred with that. A lot of times. And if the parents were there and the parents let them do the photo shoot, were they wrong for that? Were they able to see something in the tone of the room and didn't see it that way? I don't know. You know, I'm really curious to see what you guys think about this whole thing. Like, do you think this was just people misinterpreting the intention? Do you think the intention was sinister? Do you think they saw it as off, but they didn't see it as that bad? The whole thing with the kids and the teddy bears, when I looked at the artist's original, the photographer's original Toy Story series, and some of those same positions, the things people were complaining about, were very similar. So he just recreated those photos, and then he was told, instead of the regular toys, we have these bear purses that are punk. I could see how that happened and no one said anything. But the court document, that's weird to me because everything is so curated. Everything is so curated, especially in a photo shoot like that. They don't just grab a random paper from the thing and throw it in there. They are going to grab a paper, they're going to position it just so, they're going to shift it. I mean, you're going to see what the thing says, right? I can't imagine not. And you've got so many people on set. And then on top of that, once the photo is actually taken, it goes through several people of reviewing it. So the court document one is the one that's really interesting. That is also the one that they filed a lawsuit over. They didn't sue the photographer or the set designer for the kids and the teddy bears. They didn't sue anything about the book. It was the court document thing that they did a lawsuit for. That one seemed like to them they felt was the most damning. That's the one that people are like, what is this like some sort of like subliminal message, especially in the context of the photos that came before it? What's going on? Really, could no one have seen it? Because even in the response to the lawsuit, the set designers, and they are not denying that anyone saw the documents or saying they were hard to see or we didn't notice. They were just saying, hey, we were not the final say on this. They're responsible for the final say. They're not outright denying it. Balenciaga is denying it and saying we didn't know and they're reckless and they associated and then they dropped the lawsuit. That doesn't look good for them with regards to the document thing. So for me, you know, that's really like, what the hell was going on with that? Please let me know what you guys think. I really, really want to know. I'm curious like where my audience stands on this. Thank you guys so much for watching. And also thank you to Scentbird for allowing me to make videos like this. If you're interested, click the links in the description. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.